The forest on the alien world was quiet in a way that felt heavy, as if the trees themselves were holding their breath. Tall, thick trunks rose high into the glowing sky, their bark covered in soft blue veins of light. Strange leaves floated slowly down, drifting like feathers before dissolving into dust when they touched the ground. Two tiny figures ran through the undergrowth. They were twins, no taller than a human hand, with pale silver skin and large, shining eyes. Their clothes were torn and dirty, and their breathing came fast and uneven. One of them clutched a small crystal device to her chest, holding it as if letting go would mean the end of everything. They did not stop running, even when their legs burned. Behind them, faint mechanical sounds echoed through the forest, a low hum, a distant click, searching. "They are still coming," the smaller twin said, her voice trembling. "I know," the other replied, trying to sound calm, even though fear twisted inside her. Just a little farther. They pushed through a curtain of glowing vines and stumbled into a clearing. That was when they saw him. At first, their minds refused to understand what their eyes were seeing. A massive shape stood among the trees, taller than anything they had ever known. Thick boots pressed deep into the soil. A broad back covered in heavy clothing moved slowly as the giant worked. The twins froze. The giant was a human. He held a large cutting tool, its metal edge reflecting the forest's light. With careful strength, he brought it down against a thick tree, sending a deep echo through the clearing. Each movement was powerful, controlled, and calm. To the twins, he looked like a living mountain. The smaller twin let out a quiet sound of fear. The human stopped. He straightened and turned, his head tilting slightly as if he had heard something strange. His face was rough, with a short beard and tired eyes. A helmet hung at his side, not covering his head. He looked around slowly, scanning the clearing. The twins pressed themselves against a root, trying to make themselves invisible. The human's eyes settled on them. For a long moment, no one moved. The twins waited for death. They had seen what giants like this could do when they did not care. The raiders had been giants too, cruel ones, burning homes without even noticing the screams of those inside. But this human did not raise his tool. Instead, he slowly lowered it and took a step back. "Well," he said softly, his voice deep but calm, "you're not forest animals." The twins stared at him, shocked that he spoke instead of attacked. He knelt down, carefully making himself smaller. The ground shook slightly under his weight, but his movements were gentle, almost careful. "It's all right," he said. "I'm not going to hurt you." The twins exchanged a quick glance. "He speaks kindly," the larger twin whispered. "Kind voices can lie," the smaller one replied, though even she could hear that something about this giant felt different. The human rested his tool on the ground and raised his empty hands to show he carried no weapons. His eyes stayed on the twins, but he did not move closer. "I'm Eli," he said. "I work here, just cutting back the invasive growth, that's all." The twins did not understand all his words, but the meaning came through. He was not hunting them. Slowly, the larger twin stepped forward. Her legs shook, but she forced herself to stand tall. "We need help," she said, her voice small but clear. "Please." Eli frowned, his eyebrows drawing together. "Help," he repeated. The twins nodded together. Before they could say more, a sharp mechanical sound cut through the air. A thin beam of red light passed over the clearing, scanning the ground. The twins gasped and backed away. "They found us," the smaller one cried. Eli's eyes snapped upward. His wrist device beeped quietly, lights flashing. "Drones," he muttered. "Military grade." He looked back at the twins, then at the forest around them. "Those things after you?" he asked. The twins nodded again, more urgently now. "They destroyed our home," the larger twin said. "They want this." She lifted the crystal device slightly. "It holds our paths, our stars. If they take it, our people will never return." Eli did not hesitate. "All right," he said firmly. "You're coming with me." He shrugged off his thick jacket and carefully held it open near the ground. "Get inside," he said. It'll block your heat and signal. Should keep you hidden. The twins stared at the jacket. It looked like a dark cave. Why are you helping us? The smaller twin asked, her voice shaking. Eli met her gaze. Because you asked, he said simply. That answer stunned them. They climbed inside the jacket, settling into a warm, padded pocket near his chest. The world outside grew dark and quiet, but they could still hear his heartbeat, slow and steady. Eli pulled the jacket back on and stood just as the drones broke through the treetops. 3 of them hovered above the clearing, metal bodies sharp and black. Their red sensors swept the area. Eli picked up his tool again and began to work. He moved calmly, cutting another tree, acting like nothing was wrong. His heart pounded, but he kept his breathing steady. The drones scanned him. A simple laborer, their systems decided. No threat. They moved on. Eli waited until the hum faded into the distance before slowly stepping deeper into the forest. Inside the jacket, the twins clung to each other. He risked himself, the larger twin whispered. For strangers, the smaller one replied. Eli did not stop walking for a long time. He avoided open areas and powered down his locator beacon, knowing it would mark him as missing. That choice could cost him his job, maybe worse. But he did not slow. As night fell, the forest lights dimmed and strange sounds echoed between the trees. Eli finally stopped near a natural rock shelter. He crouched and gently removed his jacket, placing it on the ground. You can come out now, he said quietly. The twins emerged, blinking in the soft glow. Thank you, the larger twin said. We did not think anyone would listen. Eli gave a tired smile. Sometimes listening is the most important part, he said. Far above them, unseen by any of them, a signal changed direction. The hunt was not over, and the smallest request for help had just changed the course of many lives. Morning came slowly to the alien forest, light spreading like soft water between the trees. Eli woke before the suns were fully up. Years of hard work had trained his body to rise early, even on strange worlds. He sat up carefully, making sure not to disturb the 2 small shapes resting near his jacket. The twins were asleep, curled close to each other on a flat stone. In the quiet light, they looked even smaller than before. Their silver skin reflected the glow of the plants around them, and their breathing was light but steady. Eli watched them for a moment, feeling a strange weight in his chest. He had helped people before, injured workers, lost travelers, but this was different. These 2 were not just lost, they were hunted. He checked his wrist device, still dark. His beacon remained off. That meant 2 things. The raiders could not track him easily, but the human colony would soon notice his silence. He accepted that risk. A soft movement caught his attention. The larger twin stirred and opened her eyes. She sat up quickly when she saw him, then relaxed when she realized where she was. You stayed, she said. Eli nodded. I said I would. The smaller twin woke as well and looked around, alert and nervous. They will come again, she said. They do not stop once they choose a target. I figured as much, Eli replied. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small food ration, breaking it into tiny pieces and placing them carefully on the stone. Eat. We'll move after. The twins hesitated, then began to eat. Their movements were quick but cautious, like creatures that had learned hunger the hard way. As they ate, the larger twin spoke. My name is Sale, she is Rin. Eli, he said again, tapping his chest. Rin looked up at him. You are very large, she said seriously. Eli almost laughed but stopped himself. I get that a lot. Sale's eyes moved to his tools, his pack, his boots. You are not a soldier. No, Eli said, just a lumberjack. I cut things down so other things can grow. Rin frowned. You destroy to protect. Sometimes, Eli answered. Sometimes that's how it works. They finished eating and Eli stood scanning the forest. The air felt wrong, too still. His device suddenly flickered to life, flashing a warning symbol. Motion, he muttered. A distant sound followed, low, sharp. Metallic, Rin's face went pale. Scouts! Eli moved fast. He scooped the twins into a reinforced pouch on his belt this time, better protected, and tightened the seal. He whispered through the fabric, "Stay quiet, no matter what." He moved off the path and deeper into dense growth. The forest here was thick with massive roots and hanging vines. Eli adjusted his direction, leading the scanners away from the shelter. The sound grew louder. 3 Raider drones broke through the trees, sweeping the area with focused beams. Unlike the earlier patrol, these moved with purpose. They were hunting. Eli ducked behind a fallen tree and held still. His breathing slowed. Years of working in dangerous environments had taught him patience. The drones paused. One turned toward him. Eli waited. The drone scanned the fallen tree, then moved on, fooled by the thick organic material and Eli's shielded gear. As soon as they passed, Eli moved again, faster now. He knew he could not outrun them forever. They needed a plan. By midday, he reached the edge of a clearing overlooking a shallow ravine. Old mining equipment lay abandoned there, rusted but still solid. An idea formed. He carefully set the twins down inside a hollow machine casing. "I need you to trust me," he said. Sale nodded. Rin hesitated, then nodded too. Eli went to work. He rewired power cells, adjusted magnetic clamps, and repositioned heavy equipment. To anyone else it would look like scrap. To him it was a trap. When the drones arrived, Eli made sure they saw him. He stepped into the clearing and raised his tools, striking metal loudly. The drones locked onto him instantly, weapons armed. Eli ran. He led them straight through the ravine. As the first drone crossed the narrow point, Eli triggered the clamp. The ground snapped shut, crushing it between steel plates. The second drone fired, scorching the earth where he had stood moments before. Eli dove behind cover and triggered the second device. A heavy loader arm swung down, smashing the drone into pieces. The third drone hesitated. Eli stood, breathing hard, and looked straight at it. "Go on," he said quietly. "Tell them what happened." The drone backed away and fled. Eli returned to the twins. They stared at him in shock. "You fought them," Rin said. "Not really," Eli replied. "Just worked smarter." Sale looked at him with something new in her eyes, respect. But Eli knew the truth. That drone would report back. The raiders would escalate. That night, Eli made a decision. He activated a long-range emergency channel on his device, one he had never used before. He sent a data burst, not a distress call, evidence, raider signatures, illegal operations, coordinates. He sent it to every human authority channel he could reach. Then he powered the device down completely. Far above the planet, signals began to spread. The twins watched him silently. "You are putting yourself in danger," Sale said. Eli shrugged. "Was already there." Rin looked at the crystal device she carried. "If they take this, they erase us." Eli knelt so he was closer to their level. "Then we make sure they don't." The forest around them glowed softly, unaware of the forces now moving toward it. Ships changed course. Commands were questioned. Old rules were tested. And all because one human worker chose not to look away. In the dark, the twins slept again, safer than they had been in a long time. Eli stayed awake, listening to the forest and waiting for what would come next. He knew this was no longer just about hiding. It was about standing his ground. The night before everything changed was quiet in a dangerous way. The forest did not sing. The glowing plants dimmed as if they sensed what was coming. Eli sat with his back against a wide tree trunk, his tool resting across his knees. His eyes were open, but his body stayed still. The twins slept inside his jacket again, wrapped in warmth and safety. Their small breaths rose and fell in a steady rhythm. Eli listened to that sound and let it anchor him. Above the planet, things were already moving. Signals Eli had sent hours earlier spread through human networks. Some were ignored. Some were delayed. But a few reached the right people, people who recognized raider codes. People who had lost worlds to the same silent attacks. Questions were asked, orders were paused, ships were redirected. Down on the forest floor, Eli felt the change before he saw it. A deep vibration rolled through the ground, slow and heavy. Not drones this time. Something bigger. Rin woke first. She pushed her way out of the jacket and climbed onto Eli's shoulder. "They are coming," she whispered. "I know," Eli said softly. Sale followed, clutching the crystal device tightly. The light inside it pulsed faster, reacting to nearby energy. "They have found us," she said. "They will not stop now." Eli stood and lifted the twins gently into the reinforced pouch again. He sealed it and tapped it twice, a small signal he hoped they would understand. "Whatever happens," he said quietly, "stay inside until I say it's safe." The forest shook again. Trees bent as something massive moved through them. Then the raider ship appeared. It hovered above the canopy, dark and sharp-edged, blocking out the light of the sky. Ropes and beams dropped down, pushing trees aside. Armed figures descended, tall and armored, their movements cold and exact. Eli stepped into the clearing. He made no effort to hide. One of the raiders raised a weapon and aimed it at him. A voice came through a speaker, metallic and flat. "Human worker, step aside. This does not concern you." Eli did not move. "It concerns me," he said. "You are in violation of multiple corporate laws," the voice continued. "Hand over the assets you are concealing." Eli tightened his grip on his tool. "They're not assets." There was a pause. Then the weapon powered up. Before the raider could fire, the sky split open with light. Human ships dropped out of jump space above the forest, their arrival shaking the air. Bright markings flashed along their hulls. Authority signals flooded the area. The raider ship hesitated. A new voice cut through all channels, clear and strong. "This is Human Oversight Command. Power down immediately." The raiders did not comply. The first shot came from above. It was precise, controlled, disabling the raider ship's engines without destroying it. The ship lurched and began to sink, crashing into the forest with a thunderous sound. The raiders on the ground froze. Human soldiers descended next, not firing wildly but moving with calm discipline. Within minutes, the raiders were surrounded and disarmed. Eli lowered his tool slowly. A human officer approached him, helmet under her arm. She looked at him, then at the ruined forest, then back at him. "Eli Carter?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," he replied. "You went off-grid, ignored protocol, engaged hostile forces." "Yes, ma'am." She studied his face for a long moment. "Why?" Eli opened the pouch. The twins emerged slowly, blinking at the bright lights and unfamiliar faces. Gasps spread through the soldiers. Sale stepped forward, holding up the crystal device. "They tried to erase us," she said in careful English. "This human did not let them." Silence followed. The officer lowered herself to one knee in front of the twins. "You are under human protection now," she said. Rin looked at Eli. "You called them," she said. Eli nodded. "Told you I'd make sure." The aftermath took days. The raiders were taken into custody. Their operations were exposed across multiple systems. Evidence Eli had sent earlier filled the gaps, connecting crimes that had gone unanswered for years. The twins' data revealed lost routes, hidden colonies, and proof of systematic destruction. The galaxy paid attention. Eli was questioned, fined, and officially reprimanded for ignoring orders. His contract was terminated. He did not argue. When asked if he regretted it, he shook his head. "No," he said, "I'd do it again." The twins were moved to a human station. They were given medical care, translators, and a safe place to stay. Messages were sent out calling any survivors of their people home. Slowly, replies came. Not many, but enough. Years passed. Eli returned to a quieter life on a different world. He found work again, this time with people who knew his story and did not mind the rules he bent. One day, a small ship landed near his home. Two familiar figures stepped out, taller now, wearing simple robes marked with symbols of leadership. Sale smiled up at him. Rin followed, eyes bright. Our people live again, Sale said. Because of you. Eli rubbed the back of his neck. Just did what anyone should. Rin shook her head. Not anyone, a human. Their story spread across the stars, not of a soldier, not of a hero, but of a worker who listened. And from that day on, when small voices asked for help, the galaxy remembered what happened when humanity chose to answer.